Thank you for this opportunity to present my very first video. Roddy, I look forward to your comments and criticisms and all the things you can teach me. I'm looking forward to this journey. My first discussion or presentation I would like to do is on big picture thinking. And I was very fortunate to have a great mentor in my younger days. And then I was equally fortunate to be able to take what I'd learned in those days, how my mentor worked with me, to support one of my staff. The story starts off as I manage a section of a hospital, and at the time, on this particular day, we are 137%, yes, 137% of capacity. We're fortunate that we did have flat spaces or beds for all the patients that we had, but we're an acute care unit. We ran an emergency unit. We had multiple different things going on, from maternities, emergency, cardiac patients, and we're at 137% capacity in a single unit. I had a young charge nurse on, very, very energetic, very wonderful lady, and very brilliant lady. But as with many situations, she had great clinical leadership skills, but the big picture thinking process wasn't well ingrained in her. And she'd come up to me and said, "We are at capacity." And she was not panicking, which I give her a lot of credit for, but she was quite concerned because she had to deal with staff, physicians, and a variety of other people to try and make this situation work. So I sat down with her and we talked for a moment. I said, "Give me the picture as you see it." And she explained, we had 137% capacity. Staff are working very, very hard. The physicians, well, we always struggled with physicians being compliant with what was needed. So that was a normal thing. And that's where I usually stepped in and got the supports that were needed in order to work with the physicians. We didn't know what other hospitals, what their capacities were, and if we had the opportunities to move people. So as I listened to her story, I realized there was one thing missing, and it was, in essence, big picture thinking. They're thinking of the unit, of the events they had right in front of us. So I took her for a moment. I said, "Come back with me." And I said, we walked back about 10, 15 paces at the most, away from the desk and into an area that just a little farther back. And I said, "Look around." She could see down all three wings, and she knew what was going on in an emergency. I said, "What do you see?" I didn't ask her to change anything. I didn't ask her to do anything. I just asked her what she saw. And she gave me the funniest look, and she said, "Give me 1 hour." So I did some checking to make sure we'd have places to send other patients to. I checked other hospitals, made other arrangements as necessary. And in 1 hour, I went and met up with her and said, "Okay, you asked for 1 hour. Now tell me what you see. And what is our plan? What would work best for you?" She looked at things and she said, "We are okay." And we're still at 137% capacity. I said, "Okay, how are we okay?" She said, "I looked at all the patients' clinical needs. We've got the skill sets to handle it. I looked at the staff we've got on in this shift and in the next shift." And she was very sure that we had the skill capacity to work with it. She looked at who was being discharged and who wasn't. And at the end of the day, we were still going to be 110%, but it was manageable looking at the next three shifts coming on. We spoke with the physicians. We gave them rules. The two of us gave them rules in order how to engage more patients as they come in, knowing how to communicate, how to process, and if we needed to transfer out, just what we needed to do. At the end of the day, this young nurse took a team, looked at the big picture, focused on what the true priorities were, and instead of moving people all around, calling in ambulances to move patients, stressing other sites which were at capacity as well, stressing the situation with this bit of just backing up and having a look at it from another 10 feet back or another 15 feet back, and taking it in a whole different process, was able to formulate a plan based on all the resources she had available, and all the resources externally she knew that was available. And at the end of the day, the shift went very well, and it even passed on to the evening shift and night shift. And it was a positive outcome, which was very unusual for this working group. So at the end of the day, we had to talk about it. We actually talked about it even a short time ago, and this happened a few years ago. And she still remembers the day I asked her to back up and take a look at the big picture. And all I asked her is, what do you see? Thank you.